welcome back, and here we are in part 2 of the felt along with Peter Rabbit and the stolen radishes. So since I finished part 1, we have released the kits and I've now got the actual instructions in front of me, which is quite useful, so I know exactly what you're seeing, which makes that better for me and for you, hopefully. Anyway, so we got to the point where we had completed the collars and the structure of the jacket, and so we're just about to do the pockets. So we basically got ourselves to step 38, where we're going to add the make and add the pockets, and then make a bit of movement in the jacket. I think we will refer to that. Yeah. So, oh, there's a little stand which I was just having a look for the next stages. Here we go. Move those little bits out of the way. Excellent. There we are. So, right, what we need to do. We need to felt 2 squares, which are basically 1.5 centimetres by 1.5 centimetres on our mat, and then we add them to the jacket. Now, as we can see, well, in fact, it's probably easier to show you on my actual chappy here. The top part isn't felted on, it's just these 3 sides that we actually felt onto the jacket. So we'll make the square here and then we'll just felt around it on the jacket there. Up we go. Lovely. Right, here we go. You know, I've got a new shelving unit since I did part 1 as well. So much has changed. Right, okay, let's get the lighter of the 2 needles. And just fold over, just take a small amount and sort of fold it over, and then we can measure it up once we've done a light little. I'm just going to very lightly felt that square down. I'll then check my sizes and do a line down and fold it in where I've got my little straggly bits. But I just like to get a little bit down first. Let's do the other one. Let's do them both at the same time. Makes sense. There we go. Fold that one over. And there we go. Just very lightly. We really, I mean, obviously we're going to felt it a little bit into our mat because then it keeps it stationary, but really just very, very slightly. There we go. I'm going to turn it over before I measure it. Just do it the other way. Because actually we can do the little hand press for this once we've got it the right-ish size. Make it nice and thin, and you can also obviously use an iron or your hair straighteners to make it nice and thin if you're struggling to get, you know, the thickness down. So 1.5. So that's, first of all, let's get a straightish line down there that I'm going to go from. That's a pretty straightish line there. So if I go over 1.5, that's to about there. Okay, so I can go down that line there and fold that in. Can you hear my phone pinging? It's amazing, isn't it, where your phone doesn't ping for ages and then it doesn't stop. Okay, that's that. And then if I turn it around that way, I can decide where my line will be. So where my 0 is. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, it's fabric, remember. And no doubt little Peter will have had apples and things in those pockets, and they'll be baggy and wonky and all the marvellous things which happen to your pockets. Okay. So that may be probably, I'll see when I put it on, but certainly when I'm looking at the picture here, you can see that's we do quite a nice little roundedness at the bottom, which you can do. Let's just lift that up. Okay, I think I stretched that a bit when I pulled that off, so I should make sure I don't stretch it anymore. While I'm just going to lightly play around with it, and then I will do the old hand press and neaten up those edges. Once again, don't do as I do, do as I say. Fold a bit of card and protect your fingers when you're doing this. Business card is perfect. Just neaten up those little edges a bit. And the final top one. Okay, what size are you? Yeah, just, that one's a bit much, isn't it? It's a bit too big. So I'm just going to neaten up that edge a bit more by felting it in, because I think I stretched it a bit when I took it off. Look at that, made it nice and wonky too by the looks of it. There we go. That's kind of, close enough for jazz. Yes, so hand press. There we go. On my warm hand, I've got it firmly and moving it around. Just makes it a little bit thinner. If you still have straggly edges, just take a pair of scissors and just neaten up that edge, which I may well do myself in a minute, but I'm going to have to wander across there and get my scissors, because in my haste to get started, I didn't bring my scissors with me. But there we go. Right, okay, so let's kind of use that as my pattern so that I get it close to the size of this one. And down there. Fold it over. So certainly if you really are struggling with the thickness, then the iron hair straighteners is the perfect way to just get it nice and thin, which I'm sure I probably did do that when I made the first one. I'm looking around to where I've hidden my hair straighteners. Oh, over there. Every time I have a tidy up, I can't find things. There's the thing. Okay, let's go down there. And fold it in. Fold that one in. Perhaps I might actually felt that one out. However you need to make your little square. I mean, if you find it easier, you could always get a little piece of felt and colour it over the top with that, but then you're still making that thick, really, by putting felt on top of felt, by trying to cover up, because I doubt you can find exactly the same colour. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that action. Right, I am actually going to get the scissors and get the hair straighteners. Right, first of all, let's have a little neatening up. Because bearing in mind you're going to be felting this down into the jacket as well. I try to, if I'm doing the scissors, I try not to use the scissors on the top edge, because the other three edges you're going to be felting into the jacket. So I try and keep the top edge where I haven't actually cut it, because otherwise it kind of shows as the top edge that you've cut it. Right, let's have that, if you know what I mean. Right, there we go. Let's decide which one's the top edge. So I'll say, right, okay, we've done a little bit of felting in there. Lovely. That will be the top edge. Double check we haven't gone mad. No, it's still a little bit big. Okay, I like that as the top edge. That one, it is a bit thick, so I am absolutely, I could be very robust with my hand, but as I have my hair straighteners, I don't need to. Right, is it hot enough yet? Possibly. Let's have a little go. See how thin that goes. See, that's the other part that I haven't done. It's lovely. It's very satisfying. And then I'll check the sizes to make sure I haven't squished it. It's extremely satisfying. There we go. Right, let's just turn that off. Otherwise, sometimes it does turn itself off, but it stays on for a while. Okay, let's check our sizes. Yep, it's gone a bit squished, as you would imagine. So I'm going to do a little trim now. These aren't the best scissors in the world, but I can't find the best scissors. I have got absolutely huge pair. I do like these, but it's a bit overkill, isn't it? There we go. Keep that one as the top. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, okay, let's neaten that bit up. That went a little bit wonky there. Nice. Here we go. Right, oh no, and that edge as well, because that's a bit wonky too. I mean, really, make the pockets as big or as small as you like. But there we go. Lovely. Right, so now we are going to position them. We don't really need the mat, I don't think, initially for that. Onto the jacket. And it's this spot here, basically, because this is going to be riding up, flaring, so it would be just quite nice to have it there. Just because that's where his little arms would go. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hold my finger there And I'm going to just press lightly down without going all the way into his body, and just do that lightly the other side, and then at the bottom. Okay, now did go a little bit through, look. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually felt back through. Okay, so now that I know where it is and I know where my line is, I'm going to felt back through from here. You should be able to see where you felted through from the front. Just as I say, we're not going to felt that top edge, but you can felt. You can felt so that it covers a bit more of the actual. Bring that little one in. Does that work better? Sometimes if you bring a little mat in, excuse me, okay, now I felt quite harder because I'm not worried about it felting into his little body. Okay, and this inner one here, give that a nice, and then once I know it's on nice and securely, I can check it out and neaten it up. And if I've got lots of holes, I'm just going to slightly brush it with my needle. There we go. And actually, if I put my needle in there, see I've got a little pocket that I can put his little apples, whatever he's getting, radishes even in this particular case, isn't it? There we go. So now we're just going to do the other side. Let's see if we can get them to match. Okay, about that height, about there. Make sure you've got your top at the top, as it were. Yeah, okay. Once again, do it as light as I can. I mean, I could put a little mat underneath there if I was really worried about felting it into the body. But I didn't go too mad, so if you're happy with that yourself, just do it free like that. So just a little bit went through, but not too bad. There we go. Let's take that little pin out for the moment and take it over onto my little mat again and felt back through. Okay. Make sure it's nice and secure. Lift it up with the mat nice and carefully. Okay, and now we'll do it again onto our mat this time, because we want to do it stronger. When I did it the first time, it was more like a little tacking stitch, but this time, and tidy up any of those little loose bits. Oh, got a little bit of vegetable matter there. Okay, let's do that inside one. You still see? Yeah. Inside one there. Nice. Let's have a look. Easy to tidy up. I didn't do that corner very well. Let's do that a bit more. If you want to make them rounded, make them a bit rounded there. But because it's obviously thicker, it does have that nice little 3D pocket effect, which is good. There we go. Got a little hole at the top. I mean, if you want, you could even, sag that a bit. Pull it out, make it saggy, because let's face it, he would have had all sorts in there, wouldn't he? Pull it out, even, felt it down the middle so it's a little bit saggy. I think I always had saggy pockets. There we go. Lovely. Brilliant. So, step 39. So yes, this is where we're going to add movement to the jacket. Let me just move a few of my little bits out of the way. So, add movement to jacket, pull the jacket out at the back and create the folds. Okay, so we had that a little bit with the pins. Okay, let's put that in there. And you kind of get almost like a little V shape at the back there. Okay, it's this nice little fold bit. Pull the jacket back, create the folds. These folds, felt these folds either onto the body or onto the jacket itself. The folds give a feeling of Peter's flapping jacket whilst he's running. So what I mean by that is you can either felt this into the body like that, or this fold itself, you could felt jacket to jacket. Yeah, so what I mean by that, get my light needle. If I just fold that over and felt that lightly, I'm just doing it lightly because I don't want to make a big fold as such, but if I exaggerate it to start with, then I can pull it back. Okay, now this side I'll show you. So I would felt it onto the body by just going in there and felting into the body. Yeah. Now when you first do it, it will look more severe than it will do once you've played around with it a bit more. So I don't worry about it looking severe to start with, because I know it will calm down, especially, once we've done the buttons and done other bits and pieces on our jackets. Okay, so there you go. Got that little bit of movement there in the jacket just by creating those little folds there and that little shape at the back. Lovely. All great. Paws and Cuffs. So we need to take some light brown wool and wrap it around the white wool. So this bit here on the end. So we need to get some light brown and wrap it around here. Light brown. You don't need much of this because, and we're going to do little paw pads as well. So obviously they are round. I'm just going to move his arms out a bit whilst I do this. Okay, so let's take off a little bit and start off. Now I always like to just tack the end on, and I'm not worried about whether I go over the blue or anything at the moment, because obviously we're going to add the cuff, and that will define the end of the jacket. I've got far too much here, but that's fine. So I can pull that so that it's quite tight and just wrap it round. Okay. Wrapping it round, and then I will pull off the zips. So now, aware that we've got an armature, so we can't just stab in willy-nilly. We need to push our needle with care. Okay, let's put his arm over onto the mat and just gently push the needle. I'd like it to be a little bit thinner at the wrist and then out towards the outside of the paw, but once again the jacket cuff will help define that, so I'm not going to obsess about that. It's more about getting these fibres into that little round paw shape. Okay, that's done that a little bit. It's obviously just like a little round paw rather than any other. And when we put the little pads on the other side, that just helps to create that little illusion of the paw pad. Okay, that's, pick that up, haven't we? There we go. I'm just going to neaten it up again on the inside. I'm sort of hiding that a bit with the other little arm, but I'm not too worried about that inside because, as I say, I'm going to add those little pads with the dark wool. Okay, so that's that one. If I finish that one off by doing the little cuff, so we will get our glue and wrap it round our needle. We may well make enough for both cuffs with this. It depends. Let's have a little look. Let's go back up. Let's roll it in my hand. There we go. Take that off. Give it a little felt. And it's not likely to unravel, but you know, every bit of help you can get. This is definitely too big for one, but whether it's too long for one, but whether it's enough to do two, I don't know. Okay, stretch it a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to put it on there for size. Yep, like that. Put the join on the inside because this little arm is going to be wrapped around the radishes, and so this little join will be hidden, so I don't need to worry about it too much. Just felt that in place, and then bring this around. Can you see that? Bring that around. Yeah. And yeah, that's where it's going to go. So I'm going to snip it off at an angle, slightly beyond where that join's going to come. Definitely not enough for a second one. I have to make another one. I thought as much, and then just felt that down onto that join, and then go round on that inner line with the jacket, felting it into place. There you go. If you're worried about it looking like it is separate, you can take a really thin piece of your blue and lay it over the top, and just felt that over the kind of join area and into the little cuff that you've made, and that will just help to bring it all together. Okay, I mean the cuff is always going to be protruding, obviously we want it to, so that we've got the little cuff, but it just depends. I can't see your work and whether it needs it, but I often do it even if it needs it or not, to be honest. Get my little scissors and I can just snip any extras, or just felt it in, whichever is easiest for you. There we go. And so there's his little hand. Let's finish that off. There we go. And we can do, and that's the little arm. Oops, that's the little arm which is going to be around the radishes. So that little hand will be slightly round there like that. There we go. Lovely. So then we'll do this arm, and this is the one which is going to be in the running position. Okay, which for me bends down like that and is up like that. Okay, let's get our little bit. There we go. Once again, I shouldn't need that just yet. Just tack that in place. Up to you how big or small you make your little paws. Now this one, I definitely had a bit of armature showing out the top here. So I'm going to pay attention to that to start with, by pushing these fibres in the top to cover that. There we go. And now bring my mat over, felt into the rest of it. If I need to add any more, I can. And this is where we are going to slightly see that hand, this little paw on the inside. Okay, just pushing those fibres in, making sure it's all nice and secure, trying to avoid those wires. You can do it slow and make sure there's no breakages. There we go, just felt the wire. Do it nice and slowly, feel that wire, and you can stop. And just push the needle in just to the left or right of it. Okay, I think I need to add a bit more. Okay. Just to give it that look that I want. So again, I could just see that bit of the armature there. So just making sure that's covered. Obviously, not just avoiding the wires, but also avoiding your fingers. And I will say again, don't do as I do and protect your fingers with either a rubber thimble or with the business card which holds the piece in your hand. Okay, now I am fine with that. And his arm, yeah. That'll be down in there, and then that'll. Right, so in order to get that shoulder looking good, I'm just going to pay attention to that jacket a little bit, just give that shoulder a little better definition. This is the thing, you can keep playing around as much as you need to as you go on to the next sort of little bit. If it sort of highlights something you haven't necessarily done as well as you want to, then just make a little adjustment. I'm just going to add a little bit more blue wool onto there. Okay. Just give that running arm, that shoulder, this look that I wanted it to have. There you go. Right, there. So we need to do his little cuff. Now the other one was a little bit too long, so even though this seems to be smaller than the last one, I think we'll be okay. If not, I'll just have to do another one. I always find it difficult when I'm doing, you know, left and a right to get them exactly the same. So not that we are exactly the same in any way on our clothes, on animals or anything. So that's my excuse. Right, and we will see the inside this time, but nevertheless, we will do the join on the inside. Okay, put that around. Yeah, I don't think it's as thick on this one, so I might definitely add a bit more. Just joining, you see, just joining it up. There, before I go around the edge, and then I will add a bit more fibre over the top in the joining process, which will just make it a little bit thicker. Okay, a little bit thicker. There you are. Right, we go from the top again. It goes into place. Yeah. Let's have a little look. sweet. Okay, there we go. So there we have his little paws and his little cuffs. So the paw pads, so we're going to add little paw pads to each hand. So we're going to roll about 8 tiny little balls of the dark brown, which, as we can see in figure 41, get added to the little paws. So they really are quite small. Let's see, let's use that one out to start with. Actually, I have got some hand lotion this time, which I was saying before. It's really useful to have some hand lotion for rolling up bits of fibre. Which you don't put directly onto that piece, but let me just put some hand lotion on my hands. Right. Just rolls it up nicely. Okay, it's probably a little bit less. Okay, so you'll be amazed, you'll probably do some too big, because I always do. You think, I must need more than that. That can't possibly be enough. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's 4. I mean, if you've done them too big, you can always cut them in half, of course. Okay, that's a tiny little one. Yeah. Let's not put any in that. Okay. It's too big. Let's have a look. So this one is the more available, because this is the one that we're going to see. Okay, so we can, I always put one in the middle and then 3 around the outside. So let's do the one in the middle, which is going to be the bigger one. Pop that in and anchor it in. Now we definitely need to be careful not to hit the wire, so that's why I tend to find a spot which is safe and then keep using that to push down the needle and felt it into place, rather than continually pushing in and felting all around it. Okay, so that's one. And then let's put one here. Hand lotion smells nice. Okay, so there I am, just pushing into that same place rather than, as I say, felting all around. It's so small, you really don't need to felt around it. That one's quite tiny. Okay. Okay, now I have done a little bit of felting through too hard, which I can do one of two things. I can snip it off, or I could actually just twirl it around my finger and push it back in, which is the better way of doing it. I almost went straight for my scissors then, but I can easily just use my scissors if I need to. Right, so push those little loose fibres in. Okay, so we've got our little paw print there. Paw pad, not paw print stuff. Right, there you go. I'm going to play around with that collar in a bit, I think, because I just play around with them all the time. Change it. Right, I'm going to open that up so that I can do the other one. Okay, bigger one in the middle. There we go. Oh, that's good. Got a nice place to fit it all the way in. There we go. If, like mine, yours was a bit big there, I will squash it a little bit down rather than just one hole. There we go. And this paw we won't see so much because it's going to be wrapped around our radishes. But we will know that the pat has been done. So, I mean, even practice on this one first. I did the other one because I thought it was more visible for me to be able to show you. So just, if you suddenly think, oh, actually my paw's not big enough, then you can easily add some more wool and make it a bit bigger. One in. Okay, slow. Paw pad. Have I gone through too far? Probably. Yes. There we go. We knew that would happen. And just push it back in. Keep touching there we go. The wire armature. There we go. Lovely. So, my little paw pads. Now let's just get your arm round so that you can hold your radishes and you're in your running position. So look at my one up there. Yes, because he's just getting that little bend where I think it is, and I'm going to neaten up a little shoulder on this side as well. Okay. Feel free to make any adjustments that you feel. See how I've moved this around. I said how very quickly I know I shall move this around and probably need to. But that's why I don't worry if I think, oh, that's a bit harsh what I've done. And I think I may put my hair straightener on there to make that collar a bit thinner as well. Yes, indeed. Okay, anyway, off topic. So, we're going to start with the radishes. So, we're going to grab ourselves the green felt, and we're going to cut out 3 squiggly leaves, which are about 2 to 2.5 centimetres in length. Okay, right. This weird and wonderful in and out and all that. If you prefer to draw it first and then do it, go for it. I'm just going to, you just need, make sure you've got a long bit here because this is the bit which is going to attach into radishes, but you just need to have a bit of a waviness going on. I don't think we're going to be judged for an in bloom competition, so we'll be okay. So you will have what green will you have? You'll have a nicer green than I've got. You'll have this beautiful green, which is perfect. I'm making do with a piece because I used everything else up in the practice. Right, okay, enough stuff, just go for it. Okay, so I decided tonight for about 2 to 2.5. Doesn't seem very long, does it? Okay, so let's get some red. We really don't need much of this at all. So let's just take off. So grab our needle again. Let's get all of our little pieces out of the way. And pins and things. There we go. Try and get organised. I'm trying to pretend I'm organised. I'm so not. Right, let's get a small amount off. Okay. So what I'm going to try and do is keep it on the top shaft so that it doesn't go too long, because by the time I've rolled it and things, and because I know it's going to be thinner at the bottom and thicker at the top, I'm going to wind it a bit more at the top. Makes sense, doesn't it? Give it that little I mean, I think of it as a carrot shape really, but it's still a radish. Okay, so I'm going to pull that off, and then I'm going to just neaten up this end. Yeah, just neaten up this end. That's where our leaf is going to go into as well. So we need to have it fairly substantial for it to do that. And this bit, we're obviously going to add our white bit too. Which actually, I'm going to have a go at doing it now. Just take a really bit of white. Just add it to the bottom. And I'm going to just roll it. Rather than felt it with the needle. There you go. Just take a bit off there. And if I want to put any more, I can just lay it again a bit further up and just roll it in my hands. Okay, and then I can out of it. Okay. So let's take one of these and we are going to just felt it down the middle. Okay. Sure that's all nice and tidy in place. We'll see whether we distort it at all when we add the. So I'm just going to pick that up with my needle and start pushing it in, down into the radish. Okay. It's slightly fiddly. I'm going to go around to the back, but just do it nice and slowly. See how I've come out the side there? I thought I might do something like that, so that's why we're all ready to add anything to it that we might need to. Okay. When you think it's in far enough, let's do this a little bit more. You can help by just felting a little bit at the top so that that's even further holding it in, because you're catching the fibres which are inside. Now where I've accidentally got a bit of the green fibres coming out, I'm just going to add that there. I'm going to roll it. It's quite a nice long, it's got a nice long radish, that, isn't it? It's not bad. If I just show you that it would just flop over the arm like that and out. So you don't have, oh, there you go, flop over the arm like that and hang out the bottom, so you wouldn't need to actually do anything else. And in fact you can just squash his arm in even more and it holds them even tighter. There we go. And so place them however you like. But, oh, can't see, can you? So anyway, there you go, that's the first one. So we will do that 2 more times. And they will be different in size and shape every time we do them. When we're ready, I mean, we won't do it just yet because obviously we need to finish off the rest of our piece, but we can kind of get our arm ready if we want to as to how we're going to hold. Now I have it that way and then bend definitely at the elbow as a little crook to hold onto them, and I even bend the little hand round it a little bit so that we can place them over the arm. That's a great thing, isn't it, about felt, is it catches nice and easily, so it's not going to slip off. There we go. Pull these down, and then the third one, tuck it in there, and if you're worried about them coming out, you can actually push the arm in even a bit tighter to catch that. Notice I've put a little pin in the jacket so that I'm, oh, we're just about to be joined by Milo, the cat. I've pinned just temporarily so that I know whereabouts it's going to be once I'm done. Okay, so there we go. He'll be carrying his little radishes and running off. Brilliant. Okay, so there we go. So our 3 little radishes, and you can, you know, variegate the colour up and down the radish as much as you want. However pink or more red radishes are in your neck of the woods, as it were. So that's pop those down there. And our next bit we're going to do is just add the little buttons to the jacket. Now, on the picture on here, can't really see the buttons that much, can we? But I believe I added 2 buttons, yes, and I think I added 2 buttons to my little chap here too. Yes, I got 2 buttons. But I think I've actually made my jacket a bit longer. No, same size. There you go, you see. Looks are deceiving. Back up you go. But it's up to you. It's up to you how many buttons you do, 2 or 3. I might do 3, but let's take, just in case, I'm going to do 3. But it really is, once again, very, very small amounts. Now let's check what I actually say in the instructions. So add 2 or 3 golden buttons to the right side of the jacket, this side. Roll a small amount of mustard wool in your fingers and felt into the jacket. Felt around the button rather than into the centre so that you don't flatten it, and repeat for the required number of buttons. Yeah, so let's try and make it even amounts. I say try because I fail every time to get even amounts of wool, but hey, close enough for jazz. Okay, and once again, I think I'm going to use the moisturiser trick. I quite like this moisturiser, didn't I? What was it? Fendril. Not my normal. My normal one is packed away in storage, which is a whole nother story. Right, there we go. Let's do a little bit of rolling in my fingers to start with, and then rolling in the palm of my hand. And once again with the next one. You can probably do it a bit tighter between your fingers, although you're going to felt it into position anyway, because that one's smaller than that one. Could just be because I use more wool. Let's see if we can. Yep, it's smaller. And just giving it a good old roll. And then tightly squeezing together. Okay, so let's put, I'm going to take the smaller needle, the blue needle. Okay, so I'm just going to unfold my arm so I can see and decide exactly where I'm going to put them. Now, as I've unfolded it, you will see that I have also added a little notch into the collar. I haven't added it into this side. I just wanted to show you a little detail that you could put in, and that's just by pushing your needle in and creating a little dent into that lapel there. Just gives that little detail. This one still hasn't got it. This one's still round, but just gives that little detail at the top of the collar, which I quite like, and I just thought I'd show you that. Okay, right. So I'm going to definitely put one button about there and one button. Yeah, I'm going to do the 2 buttons again. I think I like 2 buttons. I'm a 2-buttoned gal. So what we do is we kind of felt underneath it. Can we see? Just about. Okay. Just going to make sure I've got the screen closer now so that I can see exactly what you can see, and make sure we don't go out of focus or anything, because I think there were a couple of instances when that happened yesterday as well, so I'm keeping an eye on it now, guys. Right, so felting sort of pretty much underneath it, not on top. And doing that, if I have to draw it down to underneath, so that you keep that nice round little button. Now this might be going through into his chest, but I should check in a minute. Once again, there we go, just lift that up. You can put something underneath to stop that happening if you want to, but I'm trying to do it at an angle to lessen how strong that is, but it's almost, I have certainly over exaggerated the largeness of the buttons because they disappear quite easily, especially once you've got the radishes round. Okay, so there's that one. And then I'm going to put the other one just down here, about there. Oh, you can't see. Move his little arm out the way. You see that? Yeah, just about there. So, once again, just pushing that needle in underneath. So if I've got any stray fibres, loose, okay, make sure I don't have that into his little chest, puff them out, and then neaten that up that side, and easily push those back through, which takes it back into the button basically. There we go, swirl it around the needle, push those back through. There we go. There you go. Neaten them up as much as you want to, but the main thing is they're nice and secure. Yeah, there we go. So say if you wanted to, you could add another one down there. I just don't, myself, I don't want to detract from my pocket. And if it was me, I would have lost that button. So certainly if I was racing around after radishes like our young Peter here. There we go. Right. I'm just going to neaten up his little shoulder bit here. As you've probably noticed, I do this all the time where once I pull something else into place, I then suddenly think, oh, I can see a little area there that I want to just neaten up. Just make sure the top of his arm is nice and neat. And once I'm finished, I have a good look over again. But I just thought I'd show you that's how I, carry on and do the next stage, so to speak. There we go. And we've got our nice little crease ready to finalise at the end once we've stopped playing around with him. Okay, so we're going to get onto the stand. Well, that's actually quite good. So we can put him aside and stop worrying about the little crease and everything. There we go, just making sure, because I've got my pins in there. Make sure, get that crease. I always think the longer the crease is there, the more likely it is to stay. There we go, lovely. Right, let's put you down there, Peter, and let's grab my instructions for the stand. Here we go. So you can, basically you can make the stand larger or smaller than we have. But here's an example of the one, the similar one to the one that we're going to do now. Okay, so it's fairly round. We've got the mound on this side, which we will fill with wool. We have his little shoe, which is attached, which his foot will basically go into. He'll be lodged onto the top here, and his foot will go in to keep him balanced. Basically, just helps keep him, because he's in that running position where he's leaning forward, so it just gives you the ability to do that. And you can make little grasses, and you can make as many flowers and anything as you like. But say if you want to, if you have more wire and wool and everything, you can actually make this bigger if you want to. It's completely up to you. Okay, so let's get to our pieces of wire. Oops, just knocked that on the floor. Put that up, put that here. So you should still have one long piece and two short pieces. I think the long piece will be 70 centimetres and the other two will be 30 centimetres. So cut 7 mm wire and form a 9 centimetre diameter circle. Join to secure. It's roughly halfway along the wire. Okay, yeah, so I mean roughly it's half the wire to do it. Okay, continue to wind the remainder of the wire around the circle so that you have a double twisted wire all the way around. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm looking at the picture. Yeah, I can see the two ends, which have, you can't see there. I can see there, I've started there, I've gone round, and then I've gone the next bit and twiddled it round. So on this occasion, we don't mind that one wire is going round the other, because we just need it with a little bit more strength. We're not going to be manipulating it or anything once it's actually done. So if you want to, you can draw your circle of 9 centimetres, because I certainly haven't drawn it here, but I've got my ruler. So let me roughly, so that's 9 centimetres. Okay, let me see if that's 9. It's a little bit shorter than 9, isn't it? So that way around, that would give me a little bit more. Okay, make it into a kind of circle. Okay, so that's 9 that way, 9 that way. So that's me is good enough. It's 9 centimetres. So I've just basically checked that it's 9 centimetres that way and it's 9 centimetres that way. And that's all I need to know. Okay. And now I'm going to just take my wire around. So if you wanted to, you could just take half of it, do it in half and work it that way. Bum, bum, bum. There we go, just winding round. Winding round. I could have twisted it beforehand, but I remember doing this and thinking that wasn't as good when I twisted it first and then joined it up. I think the join wasn't as good and this way was better. Just going to have to leave you with that thought. But you know, it's like anything. There's no right nor wrong way really of doing these. I'm just going to show you this way of doing it. It's just nice to have its own little stand. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, you know, if you've got a spare wreath or embroidery hoop, which is big enough, you could sort of have the hoop and have him in the middle of it, in that position if you wanted to. But I quite like displaying mine on shelves, like mine behind me here, and obviously needs to have a little stand of its own to do that. Right, yeah, okay, so I have got some extra, so I'm just going to keep going around. Perhaps I didn't wind it as tightly as I often do, but it doesn't matter. There we go. Okay, so that's that part done. So next, so we've got our two 30 centimetre pieces of wire. So using the first piece, bend it in half. Okay. Bend it in half and press that in together. Okay, yep. Bend it in half. twist from this centerpiece for 6 centimeters. Okay, now this is where I would say, if you are not happy at holding that while you twist, and get yourself a pair of pliers to hold that. We're going to twist for 6 centimeters. And as I've said before, when we did the armature proper, that you make sure you're twisting them equally around and not one round the other, not like when we did the hoop. Okay, because this bit needs to be a bit stronger. This is the bit which is going to be the strength of holding Peter in his position. Okay, I mean, what I probably will do is get myself a pair of pliers to actually make that more compact once I'm done. But first of all, I need to get this twisted. Just a four. I have to say, I do find it a lot easier when I'm holding it in pliers. I don't know why I'm trying to be robust and doing it this way. Well, I do actually. I know, because I put my chair in the way to go and get them. So, well, I don't think Milo, the cat, is going to be very good at it. Or perhaps I should do, because I'm fiddling around. Can you see the marks on my fingers? I probably should do. Right, one sec. Let me move my chair out of the way. I'm actually going to get my pliers. Lovely. Got a couple of sets actually. Let me put those ones there. Okay. And then I can just hold on to that. So much easier. Oh, now you're moving, are you? Excellent. And also I can keep checking really easy, so it's much easier. Much easier to do it this way. But the wire is fine if you have stronger fingers than I do. So make sure that screen. Put my screensaver on again, which is a bit silly. There's always something with the technology, isn't there? It's like yesterday when my camera suddenly stopped just as I was doing the second. It turns out that for some reason it wasn't connected up and therefore wasn't recharging, and that's why it went off. Excellent. Okay, so that's that. Now I didn't do the top very well because I did it. So I'm going to just press it in like that. So that, yeah, there we go. Okay. Then I've got the big pair of scissors there. Move those out the way a minute. It's always much better to move these things out of the way. Right. Done. So using the second piece of wire, bend it in half so that we know where the centre is. Okay, bend it in half and join it to the first piece at the bottom of the twist. And at the bottom of the twist, join by twisting from the centre down the two lengths either side for 6 centimeters. Okay, so this is where we're going to hook it over there. Hook it over the centre, and then we will join it by twisting down and twisting down, okay, for 6 centimeters. Brilliant. Okay, and then we'll have a bit left on here. Yeah, good. All right, now then, once again, I can hold it if I want to, but I can hold it better now. Now I've got the 2 bits to hang on to, make sure. So just making sure I'm doing this evenly, having told you to do it evenly. Okay. I think there's usually just a little bit of the shorter one left over, which is fine. Yeah, nearly there. Is that enough? Yeah, that's 6. And then do it the other side. So bring that round. Actually, I think it's easier if I go underneath and twist it that way. For me. Because it doesn't matter, because we're going to cover this anyway. And then we will have a piece which looks like photo 46. So a quick check. Yeah. There we go. 6. Lovely. So, yeah, there you go. That looks very much like picture number 46. Right. So, and these bits are what we're going to attach to the circle. Brilliant. So, attach this piece to the circle. Join one end first, which makes it easier to do the other. Split the 2 ends to twist opposite ways around the circle. Okay. Choose the spot for the second end, but make sure it does not cut the circle in half. It needs to be slightly off-centered. Okay, towards the back of the circle. Right. Oh, I can see that on picture 49. Right. So first one, doesn't matter where you go. Lovely. So I'm basically going to twist it. Which way am I going to do it? I'm going to try and do it a similar way, aren't I? Or is that not possible? Okay. So let me lift that up. I'm going that long piece. I'm going to try and take it so that it goes in a similar, as in follows the twist of the one underneath, and that's the longer one. So that's going to be the much stronger join, and the other one, which is going to go the other way, is just much shorter and is just very much going to be a holding one. In fact, I might get my little set of pliers to move that up in and out the way. There you go. I will do that properly once I've done this other one. Right, so now I'm going to find my position. So if I was doing it completely symmetrical, I would do it to about there, but I mustn't. I must have it towards the back. So I'm going to move it to there. Okay, lovely. And once again, I'm going to bring this long one first, because that's going to be the one holding it really in place, and twisting it round the same way that the twisting wire goes. And then this one, this other one, which is slightly longer than the first one, so I can actually move it around myself. And then the final bend in. There you go. So I can push that now down flat. I've got that there, and that's slightly to the back. I can, make it so it's slightly oblong in my case. I quite like that. Let's have a look at the... Yes, I guess it is kind of... Can you see that? Slightly that way around, because that's your back. That's where we're going to put the weight of it, and that's where his little foot's going to go. So yeah, it's not symmetrical as such, is it? Okay, so there we go. We have our stand shape. Take 2 pipe cleaners and wrap it around the wire. Keep the top wire free, as this piece will connect into Peter. Now take a strip of the moss green wool and wrap it around the pipe cleaner area and still avoiding wire. Okay, so we need to do our pipe cleaners around that bit and that bit. Okay. Where are my pipe cleaners? Lovely. Right, I'm going to go and get my pipe cleaners. I left them over here. I'm going to use yellow pipe cleaners. Right, there we go. Not that it matters. Okay, so no real technique to this other than we are going to just make sure. In fact, why don't I start halfway round? Because it doesn't really matter. Or shall I start? No, I'm going to start actually up here. This is where I do. Put it in half. Start it up here. Because we need to do it at the sides of the slope, but not up here, because this is the part which will connect to Peter. There we go. It's funny, you know, I mean, it's not that long since I actually wrote these instructions, but it's long enough that when I read them, I think, oh, I've forgotten about that. Oh dear. It doesn't take long. It really doesn't. Well, quite often I only have to walk out the room, to be honest, but yeah, you'd think, having made it 3 times, written it down, now videoing it, that I'd have it imprinted on my brain, but apparently not. Okay, right, there we go. And then I'm gonna just bring that round. That way. Kind of hoping it gets almost to the middle so that I can bring that one round. It's probably not going to quite fit, is it? Okay, let me start here then. Of course, there's nothing wrong with actually cutting the pipe cleaner to size to fit the different areas. Which, by the way, if you are going to cut them, use either a blunt pair of scissors or some pliers, because you will blunt your scissors if you use a good pair. Voice of experience, when I've stretched out and not taken notice of the pair of scissors that I'm picking up. I know it looks like I'm sitting in complete darkness, but it's just that I wanted the light to be focusing down on the desk, and it then just makes it look like I'm actually sitting in darkness, which I'm not. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna do that and then do that tie. So I left a big gap in that first bit because I can then use that piece to go around like that. There we go. Lovely. There we go. Nice. And now we're going to take our moss green and we're going to wrap it around the pipe cleaner, cover it all. Still obviously felt a little bit, but to avoid the wire. Okay, here we go. So I don't want to go too mad here. It's just so that we've got some wool on the piece so that we can attach then the solid piece of felt, because we want to attach the solid piece of felt, which actually mine is, because I cut all of my bits off of that end, it is slightly oblong, so it actually will fit quite nicely. That way around, because that's my longer piece, because I do, as I say, I would squish it slightly so that it is a bit more oblong, and then I've got loads to be able to fold in. Oh good, yeah, that worked out quite well actually. Right, I know, I sound surprised, don't I? Right, there goes this knot. So, and that is just, well, the only reason we're doing that is because it's nice and easier then to create the bottom rather than having to felt off that piece of felt, put it down, because we're going to then fill in the back with little balls of wool to give it a little bit of weight on that back hill, as it were. So here goes. It really does not matter the order which you do this in, but I will start by, let's take that piece off, just doing very lightly, tacking it in place there so that I can then rest assured when I pull it tightly it's not going to unravel. I mean, it doesn't normally, but it just gives you that security that it's not going to. Okay, so once again, this is the whole wrapping as we've done before, pulling it fairly tightish, but only when we're quite close to the piece. So pulling it tight when we're here and not out here where we'll be splitting the wire. So let's just make it nice and tight so that we've got plenty of substance to attach our piece of felt and then the rest of the wool that we will then put around it to cover up the felt. There we go. Wrap that round, almost went round. Just I've got the end of the pipe cleaner there, so just make sure when you locate the end of your pipe cleaner that you're tucking that in, and then just very lightly. I'm definitely felting by skimming on the outside here and just tacking it in place there into that pipe cleaner. Okay, a bit more of the green. And I need a bit to go around this last bit. I will once again just tack it in place. Best to be safe than sorry. There we go. Wrap that round, covering up our wire and any ends of the pipe cleaners. I mean the felt that we wrap up will definitely cover up the wire anyway. Lovely. Okay. It really doesn't have to be neat because, as I say, we're just going to cover it all over and make it that nice mound. This really is just structural. So I'm going to pull this bit up there. The centre, which will be in the brow of our hill, which our Peter is kind of leaping over, but actually it's also providing his support. There we go. Wrap that round, pulling in. Okay. Nice. I mean, we will put a little bit up here once we've placed Peter on the stand, and we can see how far up we need to go. We can then cover up a bit more. I'm not sure on that one, did I do much? Have a look at that one I've got up there, see how far we had to. But anyway, so it's just, we need to give ourselves enough grace. There we go. So this does not have to be a neat joint. We just need it to sort of be flattish on the bottom, so any of the bobbly bits can be on the side. That's where I did the join. Okay, so, and I keep making sure I'm nice and flat. Lovely. Done that. So now, cut a circle of green felt fabric around about 1 centimetre wider, then the circle of your stand, and place the stand onto the cut felt. Fold the circle up the sides. Yes, so basically this is picture 49, and we are putting, as I say, I made mine so he's a bit squished there, so he's just slightly elongated, because I know, you know, that's where his little foot's going to go, and this is where I want the mound to go. I mean, bearing in mind, you can actually make, you can actually take the wall outside of this. The wall doesn't have to actually stay within it. It's just that this is the structure that we're actually going to put, you know, the mound and the weight on, so that he can stand and balance. But if you choose to make it wider, you know, extending it out, absolutely not a problem. So, I mean, you absolutely don't have to cut all the bits off if you don't want to. You could actually just fold it in. But these side bits, you see, will just about fit. And then these bits would go over. Okay. What else did it say? Anything? Folded in place and then felt in place with some of them off. So yes, so basically we're going to fold these bits in, and then we're going to use some of the green to just keep it in place, and put, like in picture 50A, where you can see around the rim there. 50A, you can see around the rim there where it's all nice and caught in. Okay, right. So let me get, I will get my rather huge scissors just to cut the corners off, so there's not quite so much there. But I'm not going to do it so that it's exactly rounded, because, as I say, it doesn't need to be. And I just need to make sure that it all stays up, and then the rest will follow. Great. And these extra bits you've cut off you can put in here if you want to, because it just creates a bit more weight. So knowing that's where I am, I'm going to just put almost like the 4 corners in, using a piece of the moss to felt it over the top and into itself. If for any reason your circle is bigger and the way that you cut your stems out, you know, it's a little bit short, don't worry, just lay some pieces over it and the wool will cover it anyway, as long as the majority of the base is there. So that's that bit. I'm not going to lift it up yet because I'm just going to do the four corners and then I'll lift it off my mat. But you see what I mean? If you placed a piece of wool under there, even if it was short, and I just go down and felt down into it and then bring it over and then use the wool again to firmly felt it in place and down. It doesn't really matter how much I've got. And this is going to be like a grassy bank, so it doesn't have to be even, and in fact the more, you know, bobbly it is really, the better. So once again, felt this over, into the centre. So as you're felting it down, obviously you're avoiding the wire and the pipe cleaners that we've just put into place. So that means doing it over the top and into the centre. Can we see? So I'm just making sure that light, you can see that. Okay. Got some extra fluff there. So it doesn't take much fluff to do that. Oh, spare piece, right, okay, and this will be the final little, I call it a corner, I mean I chopped the corners off obviously. So there we go, just using that bit of wool over the top, brings it over, and then I can tidy it up down the edges. Brilliant. Okay, I'm now going to lift it up because I would have felted it slightly into my mat. Okay, and you know, it once again through the bottom, not worried about that at all. I might well neaten it up once I've got it, or you know, depending on how much of the wool I've got left afterwards, neaten it up with the wool, or just use my needle to tuck it all back in again. Right, so now let's get some more. I love this green, I think it's gorgeous. Right, so this bit. Now let's go around the other bits and just bring those into the centre. With our wool. So it's quite easy. I mean, if you end up making a second stand, as you can see, it doesn't really matter what colour the felt is, because you're going to cover it all anyway. Okay. I mean, when I say a second stand, I mean because you might, you know, you might want to make a winter one. Could make a white one, couldn't you, with snow, so that he's running away in the winter. So that depending on the season, your Peter could have full summer, sort of lovely summer flowers on your mound. Winter, snow. You know, you could even have him with a stolen carrot from the snowman. Okay, in the winter, if I'm allowed to say that. And autumn. So yeah, you might have more oranges and things. You might even put a mini pumpkin or something. A mini pumpkin on the area here, couldn't you? Yeah. Getting carried away with my thoughts now. Don't know why I haven't thought of that before. Anyway, yeah. Okay, this is the bit round by the join, so I'm just going to make sure. Get that nicely in. There's obviously a lot of wire around the joins, so I'm just making sure that piece of the felt is nice and securely up as it is over here. There we go. Making sure I can still see that. Good. Lovely. I think I'm being far too finicky with this, to be honest. But, you know, I quite enjoyed this bit. I don't know why. Bit of scenery from my old days of Amdram. Putting scenery together, I think. Okay. So yes, I think I'm going to now plan my winter stand for him. Yes, I'll have to get onto that now, won't I? I think I'll miss out on the pumpkin one and go straight for Christmas. Because I'm a bit more of a Christmas person. I do love autumn actually and pumpkins and things like that. But I'm even more of a Christmas. And I think the pumpkins will all be over and done with before I know it. Okay. Keep lifting it up just in case I've attached it to my mat. Okay. That quite easily creates that nice ridge. But I don't think mine is quite as neat as the one that I've done in the instructions, but it doesn't need to be. Just take that bit off there a minute. Cover that bit there. Okay. I think that's close enough for Jazz because I'm going to be doing a lot more adding. Like I say, I think those bits can probably go in there. Okay, so where are we? So felt a little too secure. Right now, we've done the extra moss to secure in place. Right, so now take small strips of the moss green wool and tie into knots and place on the small end, which is this small end here, and back under the stand, and this needs to then fill up to the tip, which will provide balance and a grassy land for the stand. Felt a little to keep in place, and when full, lay some moss green wool over the top and felt it in place to encompass the whole frame. Continue to felt moss green wool over the base so that the whole in one colour. So we're going to fill up this bit. We're going to tie knots in to create sort of a bit of weight up this half. Let's lift you off a minute. Up to here. And then once it's actually got a nice mound, we'll get a piece and lay it over and also over this bit so that we've got a hole. And I'm presuming that's before we make our shoe. Oh yes, and we have to make our little hole in Peter. Lovely. Right. Okay, so let me make sure I'm going to pull that in half so that I've got half of that left for going over the top, which is probably more than enough. But I'm going to tie some of my bits and knots. I mean, to be honest, I don't need any more of the yellow. So if I wanted any more to build up than I've got here, I just add that. Don't know why I'm whispering. Okay, so let's tie a few knots. In wool. There we go. Just saves you, the knots are just going to save you felting because all we're doing is creating weight at this end. So I'm just going to tie this together so that it nice and easily sits in there, and I can place the other wool over the top of it. Let's say I'm going to put my little pieces of wool in there, felt that I've cut off there as well, on the bottom. So there we go, put that in there. Won't take much to fill it up, to be honest. So tie a few knots in the length. There we go. Put that around that. Yeah. It is full, really. Okay. So it's just to create, as I say, a bit more weight on this side. If you're at all worried about not having enough there, then as I say, the core wool, what have I got left? I've even got some core wool left, to be honest. You can wrap that up and put it in. I'm just gonna do it to show you because I think I've actually got more than enough in there. Put that at the bottom. There we go. Put another little bit at the bottom. But like I say, if you quite like your yellow and want to keep it, you can even use some of the white. There's plenty of wool in this kit. There you go, just to show you that you can do that too. And I think I'm going to have more than I need to cover it. So I have, this is the other half of it, and I've just pulled off a small piece. I'm just going to spread that out a bit. Spread that round the back and around to the front of the hill, as I call it. And the good thing is because you've got a nice lot of wool in that hill, so it's quite easy to felt into it. But we need to felt into the bottom because we want it to all stay still. So be careful. You don't want to, ruin your needles and felt into some wire. I'm holding that in there so that I can see where I'm going. I'm just putting a few tack stitches down the bottom here. Because the thing is, you should have quite a lot of fibre around that wire now. And you can even do it around that. You see, you can even do it down that bottom bit there. Let go out. There. Lovely. And the same this size. I mean, the other thing is, if you wanted to, you could even add, a weight in there if you wanted to make sure he was even weightier. I think, like when you make curtains, you've got curtain weights, haven't you? So you've got any of them hanging around. You could even put those in there if you wanted to. I haven't done that on any of mine, but I have thought about it. But it's not required. Okay, so I'm not worried about making this look neat because, as I say, it's a mound, and so I am just pushing my needle through into the knots underneath. And if it's bulky, that's good too. Okay. Make sure those loose bits which are around those edges. There we go. Now we might get disturbed in that because I've just heard my other half come in. So if you can hear him, oh, excuse me. Okay, there we go, and let's push that bit back in, because that doesn't need to come out that side. There we go. I'm going to just cover that bit up there. Okay. Okay. So every time I do this little stand, it looks different. So you can be planning on doing your little flowers or grasses, which, you know, you can do little bits of felt. Rather than putting those little bits in the bottom of here, you could use that for a little piece of grass. Okay, push that in there. So very quickly, it looks like a nice little mound. Now I'm going to fill up this side. See how I've got quite a lot left. Just going to fill up this side with that gorgeous colour. Don't want the hill to encroach any further, because I need to put my little slipper over here. Okay. Still see that, can't you? Just making sure. There we go. As I say, we're felting through to the other side of the felt, which is just fine. So it's sort of the main reason for putting the felt underneath. It's lovely and substantial, and it's not going anywhere. And it means that we can make our slipper and attach it here, and know it's nice and secure. Now I'm initially putting this first layer, down quite substantially, but I will put the top layer on quite springy, because it's grass. Look at that, almost covered it underneath. Bring a little bit of the felt back. Okay, bend that back over. Felt that in the edge. There we go. I'm just going to make this edge a little bit more substantial. So that I can't see well, not that it matters, that because I've used green felt, it's not such a problem, and you'll have green felt in the kit if you do see it through, because it just gives that variegated kind of look, which would be just fine. Okay, underneath. And that last little bit over the edge there. Okay. But when I say this, playful, or because basically that structure's there now, and in a minute we will test it out with our Peter. I'll get my awl and perhaps I might do that in a minute before finishing up, so that we know all is good. All is good. Haha, pun intended. Okay, now I know that we will put a bit up, wind up here once we're done, but we don't know yet just how much space we will have, or if any. Depends, because Peter will, oh, bends his little leg. Peter will sit on there and he will be forward. Okay, let's see him. Okay, so he's going to be sort of really running. So he's going to be sitting on there. His foot's going to go into his shoe there. He's going to be sitting on that. So this is going to be bent forward a bit. But that's why I like to see exactly, because what it might be is we take the wall quite a bit further up here and make the mound a little bit higher once we've actually got him on. Because I think he'll probably go to about there. So that's why I need to leave a bit more just to go up. Right, okay, and I think that's the next stage. I think we'll do the prep. So yeah, so use an awl or a pair of scissors to create the hole deep enough to mount Peter onto the stand. And then test out the stand and see that the hole is deep enough. Also stage Peter in the running position so that you can see how much of the supporting wire is visible, and then add moss green on the stand up to that point if you wish, and add plants and everything to the mount. It was also, whilst you're doing that, you'll see exactly where you want to place the slipper. Okay, so let me go and get my little awl. Do I have anything with me here? It appears not. I will turn the light on. Okay. Yeah, there it is. Should have just taken that whole thing over, really. Right. And there we are. There we have it. So I've turned the light on, which you can see all my shadows and everything, but that's fine. Okay, so I think you can see it all a bit better, hopefully. Right, so he is going to, let me move him off his, so he's going to be on there, he's going to be running. Let me have a look at my, because this is where we start bending legs and things. I'm just going to have a look at my little chap. So I can bend his little foot a bit so that he's going forward. Yeah, okay. So let's get him, because in that running position, I'll do it off. Can you see? He'd be in that position, that little foot will be down in his shoe. So I just wanted to make sure that that was nicely bent so that he can be on that. So basically he will sit on it. Okay, this is very much just a give it a go. Right, so we are going to now, quite ungainly, and we haven't done his little tail yet, obviously, put a hole inside, and I twist it a lot, and if you've got scissors you'll have to snip a bit, but if I grab him rather than the jacket, and obviously you've got to mind the the wire that's up inside that. Now, I will have hopefully made a hole which is far too long, because that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, let's look, make sure I haven't distorted you too much, giving you sort of knock knees, I think. Okay, I'm pretty sure Peter doesn't have knock knees. Good grief. Good grief, no. Okay, let's push his little leg up. So he's got a knee. There we go. We'll tidy that all up. There we go. So it is a little bit of just fiddly diddly, however you want him to. And I am now going to try and see how far. Now once again, need to just wiggle it. Okay, so I think I've probably gone too far, and that's not a bad thing, because it gives me an opportunity to move him about. Right, so I want him to, so this is where I'm going to bend that wire a bit, so that I've got him in his running position. Move that leg forward a bit. There we go. Move him about. There you go. That foot will be then nicely secured there. Now what I could do is bend it a bit, so it's at a bigger angle. I think that angle is just a bit too much, Steph. I think he's wobbling. So this is where you're deciding whether you've got enough weight, because I don't know if you, I'm going to try and show you. He is bending quite a lot forward. Can you see that? That would be straight. And he was just starting to wobble a bit, so I've bent it back again. In fact, he's definitely bending forward more than my other Peter. So I'm just lifting him up a little bit, because we don't need to go that mad. I mean, you can see by the fact that his head's here and his jacket's out there and his foot out there that he is bending forward. And that's, for me, that's enough. I don't need to worry about that. But you can see I have quite a large amount that I will wrap in the green wool to cover that up. So I'm going to hold that there so I can see what the top of that is. And I'm going to just take it off. Now, I should say, the reason why you have the bent over piece there is if we'd used an end of a wire, that would get caught. But because it's got a nice rounded piece, it doesn't get caught by taking them on and off. Okay, so, and he is, I did slightly bend it, look, that's how bent I did it to get the angle that I wanted. So I'm keeping an eye on that. I know exactly whereabouts it came to, which was there. Lovely. Right, now I'm going to just wrap that around, and again, not particularly in any sophisticated way, but just so I can then tack that in place. and then I can decide whether I want to bring my mound up a bit more. I think on my other ones I've kind of used the side to put some grass up and kind of cover that. Let me just use a bit more, just so that it doesn't look quite so spike at the top of the hill, which is not the look I'm going for. And I'm going to keep it all around the back here. I don't need to really take it around the front, and it doesn't need to be anything other than fluffy, because the support is there. The actual greenery is not a part of the structure, it's a part of the decoration. There we go. Lovely. Just making that fluffy up there. Once he's done and all finished, I'll decide if I want to make extra bits, as I said to you here. When I've made this one, after I've wrapped all this bit up here, I've then just created some grasses to kind of cover up that. Which is all good. There we go. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Right, great. White wall. Yes, I've mucked up my mat. Well, not my mat, my little piece. So I might just use my little one for this. Okay, so we need it. So I'm going to roll a sort of sausagey shape. Just very lightly. Oh, I've got the wrong needle. Very lightly felt it. Because he's going to have a fluffy, rounded top end. And I'm going to go down into a kind of pointy sausage to the other end to attach it. So, you know, however you want your tail to look. And then you can even, there's a bit of veg matter there, make it quite strong in the middle and then add more fluff to it to give it that flouncy look. Or you can just keep it like candy floss. Okay, I'm just looking to see where we place them. And instructions, okay. So we will pop him. Oh, Steph, best not to stab yourself. Whilst, see, because I was thinking about putting him back on and I started looking in the wrong place. And that is what happens. Got a piece of coloured wall there. Very, very lightly. Okay, so I am going to pop you back on your stand because I can see exactly where. Created our little spot. Oh yes, he goes straight on there now. Love that. And oh yes, see how he looks splendid on there now. Right, so the tail. So I may have made his tail a bit big actually. So let's calm it down a bit, shall we? Got a bit excited about that. Okay. Made it a little bit too flouncy, I think. There we go. Okay. So, and that'll be my bit for attaching. Is that too big now? No, I can make him. There we go. So I'm going to just lie him down there. So it's obviously needs to show out of his jacket. So let's start, because we can put a bit of dark brown, or light brown I should say, light brown wool over the top of this to cover the attachment. It's just good to have it quite well in place, but let me just check. Check how, because that's going to come out like that. And his tail, still think it's too big. What's the tail over now? I think I need to leave it down a bit. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is chop this little bit off the end that I've added as the sausage to join it. Okay, that's better. And then attach it. I'll grab my light brown wool in 1 second. I wouldn't suggest chopping it off like I just did as the ideal way of doing it, but as I've always said, you know, there's no mistakes here. No mistakes. There we go. Right, I'm going to grab a little bit of the light brown that I have left. And just put that around there. Around the base. All about the base. I think I've said that several times today. Okay, and then we'll have a look at it and decide whether we need to adjust. Okay, now he has a substantial tail, I have to say. I have given my Peter a substantial tail, probably bigger than I normally do, but I think I'm going to go with that. Okay, it's a little bit tucked up in his jacket, or it can poke out. So that his jacket's, yes, there we go, lovely big tail. Why not? Why not? I do love a little tail. Right, now put you down on you. Excellent. So we just now need to make these little shoes, one which will sit on there and one which will be permanent on the base to hold him nicely in place, and then we'll make sure those grooves are finished for his little jacket. Bless him. Okay, right, it's the dark brown wool. Okay, and let's make, I'll do it on here again. It's a little small. I've got a little bit of yellow in there, maybe. Okay, so let's just start initially. Two little straight pieces. It's going to be fatter at the front. This is more wool than in the other one, so I will have to add to that. So let's assume that's going to be the front. Make it round. And then this, pull it back. And it's round again, but just a little bit smaller, so where his toes are. That's wider like it is in a human shoe. Okay. So, because this is the base, I'm going to make them nice and substantial with a few layers on here, and then I will take it off and check that it fits. And I will take Peter off his stand. She says. Okay. Peter off the stand so that I can check they fit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Turn them over. Put them back in. And once again, we can use the services of the iron and hair straighteners in order to make this nice and thin. A little bit more there. Felt a little bit less substantial than the other one. And they are about 3.5 centimetres in length, if you want to know. That's what mine are. Curl that over, make that slightly neater. There you go. then I can feel it and decide whether it needs any more added. Right, this is where I do my dangerous edge bit, where I tell you to put your protectors on, piece of card, don't risk your fingers. Okay. Lovely. Okay. Okay, I will actually use the services of my hair straighteners. Oh, I'll take some water actually, that'd be nice. But I've just turned them on. But what I'll do is just make the little semicircle, which would go over for the toes, because we could flatten those before adjusting them to go on. So, little because that will go over the edge of the toe, yeah? So, nice little semicircle. Obviously a lot wider because it needs to create the arch. And then, however, yes, to about halfway. Okay, and do the other one. This one, I've got slightly less wool again. I'm going to have to get some more. Just to add to that. Oh, yeah, I'm nearly there, guys. Nearly there. And once I've finished my pieces, I mean, I go back to it, continue. I nearly always, once I've finished, because usually, you know, you've carried on working to get it completed. So when you finish, you've usually been felting for quite some time that day. I absolutely put it down and go off and do something different, and then come back to it the next day and look at it. And sometimes I look at it and think, oh, wow, you know, looked better than I thought it was going to look. And other days I come back and think, oh, no, that little bit needs a little bit more work, and so I'll do a little bit more on it. But I always think, come back the next day, look at it with fresh eyes. Okay, turn that over. Obviously, we're not making a pair of Manala Blarnec here, so it's just a rough semicircle over the top. That would be quite amusing to see Peter Rabbit and Manala Blarnec, wouldn't it? I did make some Christmas stockings based on his designs. I'm not sure what Father Christmas thought of those, but there you go. Bit of a shock, maybe. Right, I think that's hot enough. So let me just give that side. Do a little bit the other side. Lovely. And then we'll neaten it up. Check the sizing. Okay. And then we'll take this off. Do the same. Pop you down a bit. Tuck these little bits in. A little bit wild, I think, there. There we go. Be careful with your finger stuff. As you can see, I'm a bit of a kamikaze when it comes to. So I'm just looking to see how see-through. I think this one needs a little bit more wool. Add a bit more. And that. And then I will give it another press. Hello Milo, yes, not long now. It might be tea time. Yes indeed. Yes indeed, gorgeous. Yeah. Be right with you. So, I only really need to be right with you, darling. Honest. Do you want me to come and finish you first? Okay. Now I'm just going to say I will neaten these straight edges because that's the bit which I'm not going to felt, but this bit will be felted into the shoe, so I don't need to neaten that bit. So it's just this bit which you can snip off or felt in, whichever. Let me just put this on pause. Okay, I'm back. Milo has now been fed. Bless him. He's a cat who didn't speak for years until all the other cats had finally passed away. And now he's a very vocal cat. Bless him. Go. So I think that's fairly neat. And let's neaten up this edge. If I could just go over like that and then bend it over. Felt it in place like that, and that should neaten it up. A few bits hanging about, but to say you can always just snip off. If you are that way inclined, but you can felt it in if you're that way inclined. Okay, good. Right, now then, I need to see, do I need to make these a little bit? Probably. I got my little scissors. I'm just going to neaten up. I'm just taking all the loose bits off as opposed to cutting into the substance, because when I straighten them, all of the little loose bits definitely become quite a thing. Okay, yeah, good. That fits. So I can now fit it over there and onto this little shoe. Okay, so front bit first, felt it down. belt went down. Got my head in my... Hopefully not. Yes, I am definitely rocking the camera, aren't I, when I'm doing this? Okay, I need to... It's because I changed my setup from the part 1. Okay, we will sort that out. Put my finger inside there so that I don't felt it down too much. Tidy up those ends. I shall see if it fits. I shall put it on his foot and then put him back on the stand and then see exactly where to place it on the stand. Okay. Which I believe I did mention in the instructions. Good. Okay. Let's see if we can put it on his foot first. Yes. And the one marvellous thing about felt is it will stretch. There we go. Lovely. Good, good. And the other one. Once again, arch it over. Do that front bit. Now I do felt it onto his right leg slightly, lightly. Let me just put my finger in there so that I don't felt it down too much. Put enough room for his little foot in there. Yes, I lightly felt it on just so that, you know, when you're moving him around, you don't lose it. But not so much that it couldn't come off. Because I am quite sure he loses his shoes quite often. Okay. Up that front bit. So just look at that. Now, okay, let's check. Let's do a fitting. Mr. Peter Rabbit. There we go. Yes. Oops. There we go. Great. It fits nice and snug actually. So I'm not too worried about it coming off. So I probably won't do too much to keep it on, just a little bit. Okay, not quite attached properly there. So let's do a little bit around that. And then it really will be attached to the foot. too much. Oh, hello Milo, you're back. Is that a nice tea? Or dinner, whichever. Okay, so I haven't quite made that the right size, but now that's fine. That's on and fine. Oh, keep picking up your little pieces. Okay, let's get those bits over there, Right, okay, so now I am going to, once again, put you on your stand. Go on, do what you're told. Find the little spot. There we go. Lovely. Find exactly where you're going to be. There we go. You're going to be forward there. Lovely. That's where you're going to be tucked into your shoe, right there. Okay. So I'm going to felt that shoe down. I'll take your foot out, move you slightly to the side. You can't really see what I'm doing here. Perhaps I should take him off and put his shoe there. Okay. And then if you don't want to take him off, you don't need to, but I'll go round the back of the base. I won't make the comment again about the base. And round the front. Once again, over my finger. And then actually inside, I can take my needle inside that shoe. And even take a little bit of extra, because it always felts on a little bit better if you're felting something down into it. So just to make sure it's nicely in place, because this is, you know, the support. This is the bit which makes sure he is running in that position. Oh, yeah. Okay. Right. Great. Let's once again. Okay. Put his little foot in there. Shoot forward. There we go. Yeah. Very happy with that. Yeah, he's not rocking or anything, so very good. So now all I'm going to do the final bit is to make sure that where I've pinned and his jacket's going to come flouncing out, that I've properly, as I say, all that picking him up and putting him back on his stand, there was no way that was going to stay. But where you'd previously put your marks, you know where you need to just emphasize it again. Okay, so I can take my little pin out, take my pin out there. And there his little jacket is all flouncing out the back. I mean, if you want to, you could even have him flared out the front, however you want. However you want. You know, if you don't want it quite so flouncy, don't need to. I mean, you could even put a thing coming out his pocket if you want to. Okay, let's put these over his arm. Or closing his arm up. Okay, and then we are ready for final inspection, which will be tomorrow, as I said. Final inspection, always the next day. Right, so there we go. We've got our little ones over our arm. Move that in. He's in his running position. Got his lovely tail. Yeah, so he's in his running position there. Yeah, can you see? And in fact, is it better for me to show you up here? Zoomed out. There you go. In his running position there. So yeah, running off, brilliant. And I shall check him over tomorrow. As I say, I put that little notch in there. I will put the other notch in over the other side, and decide if I want his jacket to flare anymore, or whether I want to actually put an extra bit of a dark bit on his nose, or whether that's okay or not. All the little things like that are for the next day when he comes out for inspection. So there you go, brilliant.